Title: in court, my wife's attorney boyfriend mocked me. The judge was his ally. You'll leave empty-handed, soldier, my wife sneered. He's too frightened to utter a word. Look at him. He pushed a document toward me. Sign it. Immediately, he had no clue who I truly was. Chapter 1. The taunt. The courtroom carried a faint scent of aged wood and polished floors, the air heavy with hushed murmurs. I sat at the petitioner's table in my crisp military dress blues, not out of necessity, but as a reminder of my identity before this chaos. Years of service, countless operations, and sacrifices had now been reduced to a divorce hearing. Across from me was my soon-to-be ex-wife, her manicured nails tapping softly on the table. Next to her sat her boyfriend, a tall, slick attorney in a costly suit, his smirk the kind that made you want to smash something. He lounged back, eyeing me with smug assurance. The judge is my pal. You're walking out of here with nothing, soldier. My wife grinned at him, then turned to me. He's too scared to even talk. Look at him. The lawyer pulled a paper from his briefcase and slid it across. Sign it, now. I glanced at the document, a property settlement that stripped me of our home, our savings, even my truck. It was theft, cloaked in legal jargon. I didn't touch the pen. Instead, I met his gaze, my voice steady, almost light. You really don't know who I am, do you? Chapter 2. Before the deception, 3 years earlier, I would have laughed if someone said I'd be facing her in court. Back then, she was my rock, or so I believed. We met during my active duty days. She claimed to admire my discipline, my loyalty, my commitment. I thought she was sincere, but I noticed how her eyes sparkled at events, not from pride in me, but from the attention she craved. She loved being introduced to influential people, basking in the way officers' wives leaned in to hear her speak. When I transitioned to a desk job stateside, things shifted. She grumbled about my hours, the dull routine, how I wasn't the man she'd married. I attributed it to adjustment. Then came the late-night work dinners, the calls she took in the garage, the sudden fixation on her appearance. I wanted to trust her excuses. I truly did. The truth hit hard. I came home early from a training seminar and found them, her and him, in my living room, wine glasses on the table, his suit jacket draped over my chair. He didn't even blink, just flashed that lawyer's grin and said, "Back early, soldier." It wasn't just betrayal, it was mockery. When I learned he was representing her in our divorce and had ties to the judge, I knew this wasn't a fair fight. But I'd faced uneven odds before, and I never entered a battle unprepared. Chapter 3. The silent strategy. Back in the courtroom, I left the pen untouched, letting them think my hesitation was fear. They didn't know my silence was calculated. For 3 months, I'd been quietly building my case, not through a typical divorce lawyer, but with the skills and contacts I'd honed in the service. I'd accessed bank records, tracked hidden accounts she thought I'd never find, and gathered statements from mutual friends she'd alienated. Most crucially, I'd documented everything, the affair, the lies, and the shady exchanges between her boyfriend and the judge. A buddy from the CID, Criminal Investigation Division, helped me set up a legal wire during one of their gloating dinners. Their arrogance was staggering. They openly mocked, burying the soldier, and bragged, "The judge will sign whatever we give him." I had it all on a pristine audio file, labeled Exhibit Z. I kept my expression neutral as I glanced at the judge. He gave a polite nod, clearly expecting a quick resolution. The lawyer tapped the document. "Sign it, soldier. Spare yourself the embarrassment." I nearly smiled. "You sure about that?" Chapter 4. Exhibit Z unveiled. The judge cleared his throat. "Mr. Carter, sign the agreement or state your objection." I rose slowly, fastening my jacket. "Your Honor, I have an objection and new evidence to present." The lawyer scoffed. "Your Honor, this is a blatant delay tactic. No new evidence was submitted." I reached into my briefcase and placed a small digital recorder on the table. "Actually, there is filed as Exhibit Z." The room shifted. Whispers spread through the gallery. The clerk sat up straighter. The judge's brow creased. "Proceed." I pressed play. Her boyfriend's voice echoed, smug and assured. "Don't worry, darling. The judge will sign anything we put forward. We'll drain him dry and celebrate in Cabo." My wife's laughter followed, unmistakable. "He's too scared to fight back, By the time he figures it out, the house, the accounts, everything will be ours." Gasps rippled through the spectators. My wife's eyes widened. Her lawyer froze, then shot to his feet. "Objection, this violates privacy." The judge cut him off sharply. "Overruled, continue the recording." I did. The next line was the one I'd been waiting for. "Her boyfriend again. Even if he tries, I'll crush him. The judge is my buddy." "We've done this before." The judge leaned forward, his gaze piercing the lawyer. "Is that your voice, counselor?" The lawyer's face paled. Chapter 5. The tide shifts. The courtroom fell silent, the air heavy. Even the hum of the air conditioner seemed loud. The lawyer swallowed, his voice weak. "Your Honor, this is taken out of context." The judge slammed his gavel. "Mr. Tate, do not insult this court with weak excuses. This recording suggests clear collusion and misconduct. Bailiff, secure that device as evidence." Two bailiffs stepped forward. One took the recorder, the other stood near the lawyer, ready for anything. My wife glanced between me and her attorney, realization dawning that her airtight plan had shattered. The judge turned to me. "Mr. Carter, this evidence will be thoroughly reviewed. All asset transfers are frozen pending investigation. Custody arrangements remain unchanged until further notice." I nodded respectfully. "Thank you, Your Honor. I trust the truth will come to light." I didn't mention the additional evidence in my folder, photos, bank logs, and a damning email linking them to an offshore account. That would come later, after the initial strike landed. Her lawyer whispered urgently to her, but I caught enough. "We need to settle before this spirals." Her sharp reply, "Settle? He gets nothing." I smiled to myself. This wasn't about what I'd gain anymore. It was about what they'd lose. Chapter 6. The second blow. Court adjourned early that day, but I didn't head home. I went straight to the district attorney's office. My CID contact was waiting in the lobby, a thick file in hand. Inside were the rest of my findings: bank transfers from her shared account with her boyfriend, emails plotting asset concealment, and my favorite, a photo of them vacationing in the Maldives last year during a women's leadership conference she'd claimed to attend. The DA reviewed the evidence, her expression growing grim. "Mr. Carter, this goes beyond family court fraud. This is conspiracy, financial misconduct, and bribery of a public official. We are launching a criminal investigation immediately." By the time I left, warrants were being prepared. The next week, I returned to court. The atmosphere was different, tense, electric. Her lawyer avoided my gaze. Two men in dark suits stood at the back, internal affairs. The judge took his seat, shuffled papers, and addressed the room. "Before we proceed, this court has been informed of ongoing criminal inquiries involving parties present. All divorce proceedings are suspended pending the investigation's outcome." He looked at her lawyer. "Mr. Tate, you are removed from this case. Bailiff, escort him to the side chamber for questioning." My wife's gasp was almost theatrical. She reached for him, but he didn't look back. I leaned toward her just enough for her to hear. "You said I had no choice. You were right. I had to ruin you." Her face went ashen. She knew this was far from over. Chapter 7. Total ruin. 3 weeks later, the story hit the news. Local headlines screamed, "Prominent attorney and partner accused of bribing judge, defrauding veteran in divorce case." It spread like wildfire. By day 2, national media replayed clips of the audio, her laugh, his smug promises, on repeat. My phone buzzed with messages from old friends, some offering congratulations, others apologizing for doubting me. Her world, meanwhile, collapsed. Her boyfriend was disbarred within a month and faced up to 12 years in prison. The judge, his ally, was suspended for ethics violations and possible bribery charges. My wife, charged as a co-conspirator. The DA froze her accounts, seized her luxury car, and took the condo she'd bought with my money. Her family, once vocal and smug, went quiet. I heard they'd mortgaged their home to cover her legal fees. The real moment came at the final hearing. The new judge reviewed the case file, then looked at me. "Mr. Carter, given the overwhelming evidence of misconduct, you are awarded full custody of your children, sole ownership of all disputed assets, and immediate dissolution of the marriage. Mrs. Carter is ordered to pay restitution, when legally able. Her hands trembled as the gavel fell. I stood, buttoned my jacket, and said softly as I passed her, "No choice, remember." I walked out free, my kids waiting outside with my dad, smiling for the first time in months. Epilogue, the final strike asterisk. 2 months later, an envelope arrived, her handwriting shaky and desperate. Inside was a single page. "I can't find work. I can't pay rent. Please, just enough to get by, for the kids." No apology, no acknowledgement of her actions, just an expectation I'd save her. I placed the letter in a new envelope with a photo from the previous weekend, me, the kids, my dad, and my new partner, smiling on the deck of the mountain cabin I'd just purchased. On the back I wrote, "You were right. I had no choice. I chose to thrive without you." 2 weeks later, a mutual friend said she'd been evicted, now living in a rundown motel, sharing a room with strangers, scraping by on cash jobs. Meanwhile, I signed a 6-figure contract for an overseas security project, securing my family's future. The lesson was clear. Betrayal doesn't just burn bridges, it strands you on an island you torched yourself. From a distance, you realize the sweetest revenge isn't revenge at all. It's walking away, never looking back. Was this justice served? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you believe this outcome was deserved, share the story with someone who needs this fire. Like and subscribe to Stories of Justice for more gripping tales of betrayal and reckoning. Here every deception meets its consequence and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay sharp, stay resilient, and stay tuned.